All right, everybody. Hi, this is Blaine C. Van, the happy husband. Today, we got a guest from Waterbury, Connecticut. His name is Warren Leach. The show is going to be incredible. So you're going to make sure you get some paper and some pen because I know you're going to take some notes. Me and Warren been buddies for a long time, almost too long to share, but for a long time, over 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, some incredible mark like that. And a good friend of mine's, and he has a lot to say about a lot of things. So I don't know where this conversation is going to go. But before we get started, those of you on Facebook, I want you to know that I have linked it if you want to join the conversation. Also, we have chat. So go ahead and write down anything you wanted to discuss, and we're going to try our best to get to it. You can find me on YouTube under Blaine, the Happy Husband, Blaine C. Van Ministries. Also, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and of course, I'm Facebook. And so I got 2 channels on YouTube, and so you can find this. Also, I want to remind you that I also have a podcast that I drop every Thursday, and you can find Blaine, the Happy Husband on Spotify. And so that's how you find me. Oh, yeah, one more thing. You can find me at blainecvan@gmail.com. That blainecvan@gmail.com. And I have some merchandise, Warren, for you to know that. But if you go to the Happy Husband on YouTube, I have a link there from a little mercantile store, right? Got a hoodie for the Happy Husband and a little coffee cup. And this is how you can help me to produce the shows and become one of my patrons. But without further ado, let's get in because we're going to have a fast hour. Hey, Warren, what's going on?
You know, I'm listening to all these places that you are, and ain't nothing changed. Because when you was back here, you was everywhere too. Where Blaine? He over there. Where's over there? You know, the other place.
My wife, you can't sit still, can you? I thought I was sitting still. She said, "No, where you going now?" I'm going to the store. So yeah, you're right. I like to keep busy. But for you, I travel, around, but you still in Waterbury, Connecticut. You drank that water from that horse, didn't you?
You know, home is home, man. I always say, I'm sitting here in my office right now. I have an after school program going to teach kids about entrepreneurship and about money matters. And I think people should go where their heart leads them to go. But my heart's always been here, man. I
Yeah.
always felt like you have a community here that raised us up and made us into productive adults. And if everybody leaves and takes their talent and their abilities with them, then the home that you used to know, it goes away too when everybody goes away. So I think everyone should go where they're led to be, but I think I have something here that I'm supposed to be doing.
Man, I'm glad to hear that because I know sometimes working in the community could be frustrating, but we're going to get that. So why don't you introduce yourself to my audience and tell them about what you do and some of the community activities that you touch.
Okay. Well, you mentioned one of your sites is Blaine Van Ministries, correct?
Right.
That's correct. So I'm really transparent. Like a lot of people that may be looking at this, they may know me, they may know you, they may know us. A lot of people may not. So, I wouldn't want to start at the end. We won't go too far back, but I wouldn't want to start at the end without kind of giving God the glory for how we got here, how I got here.
Sure.
So with that being said, I came from a good family. We didn't have anything. We were poor, but I had a good foundation and good roots, I was a athlete in high school, all-state athlete, and then I was the second youngest firefighter ever in the city of Waterbury at 21 years, 8 months. But I made some bad decisions, some poor decisions in judgment, and I ended up, addicted to cocaine. Well, actually, I was kind of a dealer in the 80s. And then without having to do that because I had a good job. That's what I mean about bad decisions. And then I end up, using, what I was selling, and I ended up becoming addicted. And I like to bring that up because I don't know if we have time for the story today, but I was led into a church one day, one evening, by someone that you know well, and you can decide if you want to hear this story. I think it's a decent thing to say. And I was delivered from that menace. I call it the devil's hammer addiction.
Mm.
It will get you no matter how smart you are, how brave you are, how courageous, intelligent. It does not discriminate. And so I was, led into that church where, there's a bigger story, but God delivered me from that on 2000, November 19th of 2009. So I bring that up to say that God delivered me from, that menace. And I believe it was to do something here in Waterbury to help people that maybe found themselves in the same shoes that I found myself. And so
Hmm.
that's why I'm still here. One of the reasons I'm still here to give back. And so right now, fast forward to now, I was looking for something positive to do when I was no longer in that life. And so I started out cleaning parks and having clothing drives and little things like that. And now I run an organization that has youth financial literacy classes, entrepreneurship classes, Afro Latin history classes, introduction to art. Just a whole host of things to keep young people off the streets and maybe not have to travel that road that I went on.
Awesome. And so you mentioned, telling me the whole story. And so I'm hoping, Warren, that, you can come back, but we can talk about that. We can have further discussion because we have great discussion. And maybe that time, some of Nadine can join and we really can have discussion, some of the issues of
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
Today, I talk about family values and relationships, but let's start with relationships, okay? And so people say, well, why am I talking to Warren about relationship? Because he has something to say. And so, Warren, so I'm going to start off with this question, all right? And then you can dive in as you want. What
Mhm.
is with relationships today? You you can go for it.
Well, so you and we've known each other. I have us at 45 years or so. And you and we used to be similar type people out there in the clubs and the things that we used to do. And I when you met your wife, Joyce, and you had gone away and you told me that you were saved, you didn't dance anymore. There was a lot of things that you were on a journey through.
Yeah.
And I said, he's not the same Blaine that I used to know, right? We're still friends, but you weren't doing the same things, and I was still in the mix. And I don't think that I ever quite understood until the last few years how your relationship with your wife, God changed you because I know that happened before, but how your relationship with your wife completed you, and I was proud of you. Um, and so for some people, there's nothing wrong with relationships, right? Um, so if I understand your question, do are you asking me like in our community, for instance, where the dysfunction is coming from, something like that?
Something like that,
Okay.
uh, because let's bring it back to this.
Hmm.
You are post on social media and you got something called the secret to life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And more than one post, you actually went out there and started talking to ladies exclusively. But if a guy read it and picked up something, ain't no
Mhm.
big deal. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you really trying to father some of these young girls into the relationship and coming from a man view. And so that's what I'm at tonight.
Okay, all right. So now I'm a little more clear on, what you were referring to. I wish I knew because I would have pulled some of them up. and had them to kind of refer to. A matter of fact, as we're talking, I may try to do that. But one of the things I wanted to do is you see people out there struggling with relationships, and I wanted to kind of lend a perspective that ladies,
Okay.
young ladies, or even older ladies might not know or realize about men. When they say one thing to you, there's a whole host of other things going on, and a lot of times women think that they have us figured out. Blaine, they do not. They do
Mm.
not. They think they do because they are commiserating with their friends and other women that have gone through things that they've gone through, and they can share about their experiences, but they don't really know what's driving a man to do certain things.
Sure.
Yeah, I've said one time that, and I get a lot of, I don't want to call it flack because it's all good natured because most of the people that reply, they know me, but like, a man doesn't cheat on you because he's mad at you or angry with you or doesn't love you or doesn't like you. And I try to tell ladies sometimes the source of his dissatisfaction may have nothing to do with you. It may, in fact, even be just a self esteem issue for him. You
Mm.
know, trying to see if, listen, let's be just plain about it. If he's still that dude. Now, you would think if somebody is happy and content in their relationship, they wouldn't need to seek out something like that.
Sure.
But if the activity or if the action is ego driven, then it has nothing to do with the young lady. It has nothing to do
Right.
with her. But they'll internalize it and take it upon themselves. What can I do different? What did I do wrong? And I was trying to tell these sisters, you didn't do anything wrong. That brother's damaged. It wouldn't matter if you were the greatest woman on the planet. There's something not connected in his psyche that allows for him to just be happy and satisfied with just you, because he's not happy with himself and he needs some kind of validation from someone else.
Mm.
That makes sense.
It does. It does make sense. So what brings you're talking about dysfunction like in our communities right there, and so I mean me and you can voice it, but some folks don't know. So what would cause a man to even um, uh, be dysfunctional as far as when it comes to relationship? Now you might know somebody, you might want to share with yourself, but something is driving us to cheat on good women. That they're not, every man ain't cheating on a woman because she's bad. You know, men are cheating on women, but not only they cheat on women, they also run away from the homes. They run away from responsibility. You know, they're not taking up the responsibility. And even when they do get a divorce, you see, there's some dads are absent, even in that, as far as giving a child support. And then you got to get a lien on it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so do you have any insight, like what happened in our community that drove this? Now, I got a couple of thoughts, but I'd like to hear yours.
Um, some of it is some of it is how we were raised and the specter of um slavery,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. There are a lot of dynamics in play, and some of them are that men have traditionally, like, going back to those times when a man did not have the ability to defend his woman and his family. So if you take that through generations, when if that doesn't get healed or repaired,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes women have a lack of respect sometimes for men, because they see the way society treats them. And I listen, I'm not not trying to speak for all women. I'm not. I would never generalize like that. But when you see, sometimes women out there, breaking bad on their man, or yelling at him in public, those sorts of things to me, they they kind of portray a lack of respect. And if a
Okay.
man's not, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Go ahead, keep on.
If a man's not respected in his home, by the way, let me just caveat this by saying man has to be doing man type things. you have
Right,
to you have to be one. But
right.
just for mistakes or things that a woman might not agree with, and to like lay into you, with a certain lack of respect,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that causes a dysfunction that we never really fully recover from. Like, if you got a problem with me and you feel like I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, wouldn't you get a better reaction by waiting until we get home to broach
Right.
this subject and talk about it? You can say whatever you want to me in the house, to be honest with you, because I need you to be able to express yourself.
Exactly.
Right. So, but if you do that out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like I don't have any data to prove this, but I feel like our women sometimes are willing to like just break bad on us, um, without any regard for our feelings. Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about too, because,
Yeah, it,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, cause I'm saying so everybody, hi, this I'm Blaine Van. I'm the happy husband. I have my guest today here, Warren Lee, community activist, and we talking about relationships and love and relationship between men and women. And one I want you to know that you can put it in the comments. You go to the chat, and if you have any questions, then I can give them to Warren. We can get back to you. But let us know what you think. You can join this conversation. Also, I don't know. I'm gonna try my best to get you on. But I do have the link on my Facebook page. One of the things you were saying is that, and I want you to elaborate a little bit more, is that you said, well, the man has to be acting like a man.
Mhm.
So I do the Happy Husband podcast. I get a lot of feedback from men and women, you know, and I get this. He said, if a man was acting like a man, then I will submit. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's a hockey puck. That's malarkey, man. Because I've been married 36 years, and
Mhm.
so Joyce got rules. Okay,
Mhm.
she has rules, man. And so one time I said, well, I'm just gonna follow her rules and I fight it, right? Because I got the same between me and Joyce. I said,
Mhm.
like 11-3. You know,
Mhm.
she's right most of the time.
Mhm.
Uh, always makes the playoff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, my record is 6-6, right? So I learned, go with Joyce because her playoff record is way better than mine. And so
Mhm.
I just listen to Joyce. But sometimes I do stuff right and I
Mhm.
still get it. I still get it when I do the right. And that takes me off. Right. I
Mhm.
said, not done. You're right. I'll be like, so what is this thing that even when you do it right, see, I know people have said, women have said that if my man did this, and this, I would submit. I
Mhm. You don't see
no,
it.
no,
You don't see it.
no, no, man.
You know.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, you know a woman who would be a little artist in managing a relationship. The woman who is not always loud, blatant, always challenging you, but like you say, your wife is right a lot of the time, a good deal of the time. And if there is a way to put this to a man in such a way that you can assuage, I don't want to say lay down for his ego, but give a brother enough room that he can take in what you're saying, and together you can make that decision your own together, as opposed to beating you over the head with it.
Exactly. And like you said, this is relationship. So the word relationship is how you relate to one another, right? And so I think on both sides, as I have, both genders watching us tonight,
Mhm.
that a man should be a leader, and not a dictator,
Mhm.
right? And I was just reading recently, and what it is, and I thought it was really great. this insight this young man has, says that when the man said, I want to be a leader, you got some women say, well, I don't need nobody to lead me. I can lead my own self. But he said, but if you really dig down deep and go underneath the surface, she's not talking about real leadership. She's talking about dictatorship and confusing leadership with dictatorship, because a good leader asks for wise counsel.
Exactly.
That's what a good leader is. And so, but if you in your past never had a man that value your input, value what you have to say, and then he's standing in front of you, it could be your daddy, your uncle, your exes, and that they never let you have a voice, and yet they say, I'm a leader of the home. So when you hear the word leadership, you get a bad taste in your mouth. But what you're saying, I don't want to be dictated to. I want to have communication back and forth one to another. And so that's what we get in talking about communication. 80% body language, they say. The other 20%, is verbal, and that changes too. But still, when you're talking to somebody, it's the whole dynamic of your tone, how you hold your body, pauses, and all these things.
I think sometimes also, I think women are I wrote this piece on my blog a couple years ago about women are kind of exhausted, having to, pick up a lot of different roles in a family when men do kind of fall by the wayside, or when they're not good husbands or proper fathers. And
Sure.
I always thought that maybe part of the behavior that we see as negative is driven by resentment to us, that we put them in positions that they were not created for.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I believe that. Yeah, I think you're right on.
Yeah. So sometimes I think that they will self-sabotage a thing because they have this feeling it's going to fall apart like every other time. And so now I can't 100% put my faith into this man, even though he hasn't done anything wrong yet. There's always a yet. So I always feel like, they want to be more feminine. They want to be soft, but I think they feel like the minute I drop my guard, bam, I'm going to get it again.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, referring back to some of your pieces that you wrote and your blog, right? As we all wait for the book, right? Did you hear me? Is this mic on? Did you hear me? When we all wait for, okay. That there are that women should look for in a man. You're talking about if a man doing man things. So that's top of your head, because I know you don't have a list. But what are some of the characteristics that a woman for in a man, for a partner, and not just a man, right? But a partner, a soulmate, a husband, right? Because I think that society should go towards being married, because I know that it's really a demonic thing that's going to earth for folks not to be married. There's a lot of talk here of don't be married, live together. And so, I'm preaching on that, and that's another time. But what would be the characteristics of a man that a woman should be look out for, on guard for? Now, this is probably something that they know, right? That's known, but this might be some things that you give light to that they don't know.
So while we were talking, I was able to, like, when I was looking away, I was able to pull up some of the things that I had written that you were referring to. For me, the ultimate and utmost thing that she needs to look for, and vice versa, is honesty. Honesty. You can overcome anything with honesty, but a lot of times it's not always. We're all going to stumble and fall at times and trip, make mistakes or whatever. But it's the lack of honesty that drives distrust. So if I make a mistake or do something wrong and I'm honest with her continuously, like, just drill that in, that no matter what happens, baby, I'm always going to be honest with you, no matter how bad it is, then She knows she can trust you with her heart. Now, I'm not talking about cheating and coming back. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that you need to be honest and upfront, especially with Blaine. I didn't learn this until I was 49 years old.
Yeah, man,
Stop
me
lying
too.
to women. Just don't lie to them, because I've been in relationships where it didn't necessarily work out, but I never lied to them, and I was always there for them. And I'm only talking about the last 10, 12 years. So you knew me before. Don't get me wrong. But we're still good friends. You know, they can call me for anything. I can call them for anything, because you maintain a level of love that is beyond physical love. It's a
Right.
spiritual love. And that the basis of that is honesty. You got to be able to depend on somebody, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know,
So
go ahead.
you know, I was just thinking about this because these principles that we talk about, Warren,
Hmm.
I literally go over them like every day in my head for Joyce,
Hmm.
like every single day. And so
Hmm.
today I think about how honest I was to Joyce, and
Hmm.
am I honest? That's for my own life. I ain't talking about no other man. You know what I'm saying? Or what other people do in their household or their
Hmm.
relationship. Thinking about me and Joyce and being honest with her. And what does that look like from a husband point of view, from a male point of view, from an African American point of view? Like, how honest do you get with your wife? Do you tell her everything, every single thing? I thought about that. I said, well, no. First off, I said I don't lie to Joyce, right?
Right.
I said, but I tell her everything,
Right.
right? Now, and you be like, huh? I said, no, I don't tell her everything. So
Mhm.
why tell her every single thing, right? And I said, because I don't want to hear it. but I said, but I got to grow up,
Right.
right? So so to me, if I could add, we just ping pong back and forth. One of the things that I put on the list for men, not only to be honest, but the male has to want to mature. He
Yeah.
has to want to do that. Now, everybody do it at their own pace, but he
Hmm.
can't have resistance to growing up. You know, he has to somewhere in here saying, I have to step up to the plate. I got to eat this. You know, I have to do this. I'm not going to blame my wife if the red light comes on the car and she ignores it. If I don't tell her what the red light means, if I ain't driving her car once in a while, if I ain't checking to make sure, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because, you know, some don't do cars and they just turn up the red, right?
Hmm.
I got to know
When the rattling starts.
right. Now Joyce, every little thing, you know,
Yeah.
for but for not every little, you know, she said, "Hey, that thing made a squeal. You need to check that out," you know.
Yeah.
And then I have to step up to the plate. So, along with honesty and along with being mature about something, you know, I just don't think men should blow up over every little thing, man.
Right. Right.
So that's mine to the list. You have any more?
Yeah. Well, to bounce off what you're talking about, every single disagreement or pushback on something is not necessarily, we don't got to view it as a challenge to our manhood, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, if
good.
your wife says something to you, you got to be mature enough. And I'm a lot. If I'm nothing if not a logically driven person. If it's 1 plus 2, and you say it's 3, but I don't feel like I want it to be 3 that day, I'm not gonna argue with you. It's 3, and the sooner you come to that grip and realization, the better off y'all gonna be, and you also know that you value her input.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna argue with you about the obvious. That's when you look really crazy. Like, we
right.
all standing here, we all see the sky is blue, and fool, just because of your need to be right, I ain't gonna we going you gonna convince the whole planet that the sky is red.
Right.
I'm not that guy no more. And you know I used to be that guy.
But you know, there's man, we got trauma in our life. We don't like to say it, and I know that might be a trendy word right now,
Mhm.
but I went over my life, right, from Waterbury, Connecticut, and I'm saying, oh my God, I have trauma. I got trauma. I think about the murders, the rapes, the fires, and I
Mm.
just thought about and how we just take it and move on, and then you get to a certain age, and one we think we right. That's me.
Yeah.
We just think we right all the time, and now you dealing with an individual, Joyce, in my case, I don't know in your case, and they see the real you,
Yeah.
right? And then they go, no, 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 your diaper's open in the back, man. It's open, and you like now you denying it, or you go into a hissy fit, and I believe that some women, when they want the men to be great,
Hmm.
men to do good, they want that, but I believe two things to happen, right? And like again, everybody, you can put in the chat and you give a thumbs up or thumbs down whether you agree with this or not. I like to hear what you have to say, but I believe that the way that some people, and this both ways, express when they see the other person naked, you know what I mean? Don't know how to tell somebody.
Mm.
And so they snap it, and the tone and the body language and body
Oh.
language.
Mm.
And Joyce learned, and this is what Joyce learned, right? And I like to be transparent. In some areas, I'm very mature, okay? But some areas, Warren,
I know you.
I am not. I am not. And Joyce has learned to come in gentle on those areas,
Hmm.
because two words, and I resort back from being like 5 years old.
Mm.
You know, I'm 60 something years old. I can't remember. I'm 64 now. And I go right back to being 5. And then she leaves me, because when she leaves, walk away, I know I just became 5. And I go like, man, when are you going to do this? And so I think that as we begin to communicate back and forth, and really we're saying communication back and forth, but give that person two things. Give that person room to speak into your life,
Mm.
but also give that person opportunity to be wrong.
Hmm.
Let them finish what they have to say, and just don't jump on them so bad.
Well, that's the communication aspect. Because if you, and I got a real thing about this, not just with women, but in general, when you step on what it is I'm saying, it's not even, I can absorb the fact that you might disagree with something. What I can't absorb is the fact that you don't have enough respect for me to even hear it. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves I can't abide by. But when you talk about your wife and knowing when to kind of tread in a certain way, isn't it a beautiful thing that when you get married fairly young, that you grow into that understanding with each other?
Yeah, it is. Um, this is my one philosophy about. I got a couple philosophy about marriage, of course, but one of them is I don't think people stay married long to get into the good juice of it.
Mm.
Um, I personally broke down marriage to 5 stages, right? And when people get married, they think they're in the fifth stage of marriage. And liking the stages to trees, right? I just did, because trees they have 5 stages, right? And you get the little seedling, then the sapling, blah, 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 and it goes up. So it's like 5 stages. So when you go to the woods and you see this mighty oak, it didn't just come out the ground like that. It
Right.
went through some things. And
Yeah.
that's when you down, you can look at the rings in the tree, and some rings are big old fat and had a big prosperous year. But some rings really like tiny, man. And that's when the winter came and it was prolonged, right? And I
Hmm.
believe that's a marriage. I believe that's
Yeah.
a marriage. And so you get a chance, like you said, we get a chance to grow together. But for anybody out there listening, there is a sweet spot in marriage. I just
Yeah.
want to say there's a sweet spot, but you got to get there. You
Yeah.
got to get there, and you got to weather the storm, man. But if you weather the storm and you buckled the hatches and have open communication, like you say, with a mature mindset, the sweet spot is coming. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like it today, but the sweet spot is coming, and that's what all marriages. Not because I'm married to Joyce, because some people say you lucked out. No, I ain't lucked out. I hung in.
You hung
I,
in.
I hung on and said, God, and I prayed. You said marriage is going to be a joy. You said that, she's going to be the apple of my eye. You said that we're going to have a good life together, and I hang on. And before you know it, we hit calm waters, man. And then after you go to 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, you say, oh, man, this is just the way marriage is.
This is the way it is.
And
We
you don't
live.
vote because
We
you
live
see a
in.
story.
We live in generation now. I mean, even more so now. It's a microwave. It was even beyond microwave now, where anything that gets difficult to do, we just
Yeah,
quit. All right,
that's
that's
true.
hard. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Because because of your concert that you put on every year. So you speaking from facts.
Mm. Bouncing back to something you were talking about a woman, giving you, like, I take direction. I don't take a whole lot of direction. That's just my overall personality. But again, when a thing makes logical sense, my brain won't fight against it. It just won't. Um, I can, looking back, I don't have a whole bunch of, that chick, she was crazy, she did this to me. I don't have them stories, Blaine. Some of the women that, I was involved with. I can honestly look back and say there was never, and if a man can come to this conclusion earlier, the earlier the better. A woman that really loves you, the things that she's telling you that you don't want to hear, she's trying to save you.
Yeah,
She's trying to help you. I
yeah.
can think of my kids' mothers, and they weren't telling me anything wrong. I didn't want to hear it because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But had I done those things, I had to go through this journey that I went through, that God had, the road that He had me on, because I learned a whole lot of things along all of those troubles that are serving me well.
Mhm.
But back in those days, them women were not they weren't trying to stop me from having fun, or didn't understand me, or they understood me more than I understood myself. Had I listened to even one of them, I wouldn't have gone through what I went through. I would have been a retired firefighter at 42 years old at $80,000 a year in the 80s. No, in the year 2000. 2000, I would have been done if I would have had just listened to just one woman.
Mm.
So I know, I recognize that now. But you do gotta have the right one. You gotta have
Yeah,
the one that God has for you. Let me put it that way.
yeah. That's good. Man, I think that's a good way to say it. So
Mhm.
we was just going over some of the characteristics that a woman should look for in a man. We saw maturity, honesty, able to communicate. You have any others you want to put out there?
Yeah, because I was going through. I did a quick search to find some of the things that you were talking about that I posted. One of them jumped out at me, man. And I've been this guy, and I've been the other guy on the other side of this equation. What I'm about to tell you. There's always this guy that a woman has, that he's the dependable guy in her life. He loves her, she loves him, but she ain't feeling him like that. Yeah, I know such and such. Yeah, me and him, we're good friends. He's a dude that come and change your oil, the dude that come and mow your lawn, the dude you call when you need someone to just go out, hang out with no strings. He's the dude you call when the other dude breaks your heart. And that's the dude. But you don't she don't know that's the dude, because he's not running around with that swag, he's not running around with that noise, he's not spending all his money on cars. He's the dependable dude, and the dude be right in front of her and she can't see him.
To see him because he doesn't meet the criteria that's trending at the time.
But
You
your
know,
criteria is jacked.
he might not have a beard, I know what they're looking for. He might not be 6 foot tall. You know what I mean. Other trendy things. So when they brag to the girlfriend, they say, "Look, he's out." You know, but but I and I'm talking about Facebook, online stuff. Very rarely. Let me put it this way: Have you ever watched Kendra
Yeah,
G?
yeah.
Hey, Kendra from Connecticut.
It's the Funky DJ's daughter, Kenny Reader.
Yeah, yeah. Kendra, and she's family. She's family. Anyway, Kendra asked, "What you looking for in a man?" Right? Man, I never heard somebody never, and I don't watch all her shows
Mm-hmm.
enough. I never heard somebody say, I need a brother who's dependable."
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I never heard that. And also, I had a couple of lists too, but right now, that's the one that came to mind. I never heard once. I just need to. I want to depend on him. There's the other one I never heard nobody ask. Of all the women that I listened to on Kendra G, I never heard one would say, I need a man with good character. Not one time.
Do they know what character is?
Well, obviously not. Well, I won't say that. I won't say nothing obvious. I'm just saying that they don't ask for the thing that would make them, that thing that would make a man stick in a relationship. They don't ask. They stuff that's so superficial, Warren, that if they got those things, there ain't no way that's gonna last. It's just no way. And then they go from relationship, and now they project all their hurt and anger on a solid leader man. They put it up there, and like you said, that man could be right in front of them, right in front of them, a caring man. But he might be 5'9".
If you go, you look, me and you, we nobody did the clubs like me and you. You talk about not sitting still. We ain't never sit at a table. It was dance all night from from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. But we knew what we was out there for, right? For the most part. We ain't meet our wives out there, right? So when if you're a woman and you like to go to the club, you like to get your drink on, whatever. I ain't mad at nobody for how they enjoy themselves. But if you go to the club and you get attracted by 6'2", jewelry, clothes, the car, all that, and you get attracted by that. And I don't want to generalize, but that's what you get attracted by. And he comes off as a certain way, and all the women are paying attention to him already. Now you can see all of this. So now you figure, well, if I get him, he'll be all mine, and I'll change all of that. So then you get your heart broken. You go and sit and watch Waiting to Exhale with all your friends again, and cheer when Angela Bassett burn up the car. But is that movie? Yeah, burn up the car and all of that, and get all your you get all your feelings out with your friends and everything, and then when it's time to find you ready to get back in the game, and you go back to the same club, sit in the same chair, dance in the same floor, and find just another reasonable facsimile of this same dude. What in the world are you suppose is about to happen to you again?
Exactly. And this is the one I want to talk to. This one right here, because some of it's just blowing our mind. Like, stop the cycle of defeat. So, as you were saying, you get with your girls, you go to see Exhale, you sit here. I told this one girl, well, that girl, she was a woman, and she said, "Well, where are the men, Blaine?" I said, "I want to say not."
In the library.
Yeah. I said, where they not? They're not over your girlfriend's house having a vision board meeting. He ain't there. You up there, you're all together, you're drinking wine, you moaning, you got a vision board. Ain't no men there. Go with the men's at. Well, where are they? Well, men like sports, guns, dogs, cars, When the last time you've been to? And I'm really this lady. She about 45 years old. I said, when was the last time you been to a gun show?
Mm.
When was the last time? She said, I've never been to a gun show. I said, it's full of men.
Yeah.
It's full of men from the top to the bottom. She said, well, how you talk to them? I said, get a table. Get a table. Sell something. Sell lemonade. Sell donuts.
Mm-hmm.
You meet 500 men. You know. I say, learn what men like to talk about. I hope somebody's taking notes right now.
Mm.
Hope they're listening. I hope you're taking notes.
I'm getting warmed up now. so answer me this while we talking about where the men at. Why will women fight over a dude? Now, I don't even mean physically fight. I mean spend emotional, physical, spiritual, hardware to fight for a dude who is cheating with you on that one and cheating with that one on you, and y'all go in for months, years trying to get this dude who is obvious he's a cheater and don't really care about neither one of you. And if you think y'all the only two, yeah, you really out there. So women could shut the whole game down if they just communicated with each other. So that's another thing. Like, I'm looking back at some of the things that I was writing to women to try to give them the game. Here's the game. Stop fighting over dudes that don't want you and is already an avowed cheater. Because once you win, what do you have? You have the guy who's going to cheat. He's going to cheat again.
Yeah, you got a bum.
You got a bum.
But that's a good question. Hey, everybody, my name is Blaine Van, and this is the Happy Husband. My guest is Warren Leach from Waterbury Connecticut, community activist. We're talking about love and relationships. But I would like you, if you're out there and you're a female, I'd like for you in the chat to answer that question. I think that's a good question to ask. Why do women fight after the same guy? Now, I guess
an avowed cheater. You know he's a cheater because you caught him, and he's cheating on her with you as well. There's no, what's the end game there when you win? You going to domesticate this dude?
Warren, I have to leave that for the audience, man. Some chime in on this. Don't let us that battle back and forth. If you believe that you'd like to join this conversation, I have a link for you on my Facebook page. Chime in. Tell us what you think. Tell us why. Maybe you have a personal experience, and then at the end of it, you're like, boy, I wish I never had done that. Or maybe you won the guy and you got married and you live happily ever after. I know I would like to know. Like to know that too. And I'm sure there have been some winners and losers on both sides. You know, for all fairness, you know, if for me, will I fight over a female? As far as I know, I never did. I just don't see it. But I know guys who have, right? I mean, we know that's a possibility. They get it there, and they go to Knuckle City. But personally, you know, like Warren said, we was out there, and it's just so many women.
Why would you have to fight? First of all, why would you have to fight for someone who wants to be with you? Right? There's no fight there. He just says, "Oh no, you're my girl." There's what kind of dude stands back? Well, they used to do that back in the day. Stand back and watch two girls fight over him as though it's blood sport. It's the Roman Colosseum. Yeah, whoever wins, whoever bashes her up, you get me the prize. Women y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to shut the whole game down. You don't the way that you win this thing is you refuse to play the game. Because just like Blaine said, there's a lot of women out there. There's more men out here than you think. Start visualizing that dude that you go to for everything, the dude that go to the emergency room with you and sit for 4 hours and make sure you're okay while you can't get your so-called man on the phone. That's your dude. You need to start seeing him a different way.
Yeah, Warren, that's good. As far as like in ministry, we got a few more minutes. Like in ministry, God tells us to go out and make disciples, right? And then people have organizations or lead different groups, and they have nobody, right? Or they say they have nobody. But God gave me this revelation, man. It's that person who annoys you. It's that person, no matter what you do, they sticking with you. That's your disciple. Not the one that you trying to run down the street say, how come you didn't come to my meeting? Boy, you said you were going to come. But you got somebody there, they annoy you, they underneath your wing. God said, all you got to do is turn like this, and that's your disciple. Mm-hmm. Well, that man who loves you, who will care for you, who'll be there for you. And let me tell you, when you say, I don't like him like that, that's just in your head. That, there's no substance to that. You can like anybody you want. It's just a switch in your head. That's all it is. You can switch on, right? But folks are competitive. Some people don't want nothing unless somebody else want them. I don't like Jordans, right? I don't even like Jordans. But I wear a pair of Jordans, and somebody tell this guy, "Man, you look good in those Jordans." Well, I might try to go buy some now, so I can get the compliment. So I know security involved there, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. When going back to that guy, the guy that the guy that she doesn't see, as relationship material. And you say that's in her head. You're right. That's a thought that happens, right? That is in conflict with what she really needs. And you know what that is in essence? That is her brain lying to her, telling her she doesn't want that, and telling her she needs the thing that continues to produce heartbreak. And you know how you know that's a fact? Because every time she's in trouble, it's that guy. It's the guy she doesn't see that way. That's her heart telling her, this is the man I need. Whenever I need anything, he's there. And he's always there for me. But her brain's telling her, you don't like that dude like that. Nah, you love that dude. You just haven't come to that awareness yet.
Yeah. I was listening to a couple of psychiatrists on social media, and one of them is, the interviewer asked the psychiatrist, why do girls bad boys? And he drilled down on it. Mm-hmm. He said, this is why girls like bad boys. He said, because they feel that a bad boy can protect them where maybe the little nerdy scientist guy can't, right? I said the thought is correct, but they said that's one of he said, so a girl gonna go to the biggest, baddest dude in the club because she says, I know that anybody jump off him, they're not gonna jump on him. And they say they're like, and I heard other girls say, well, it's just the excitement, of dealing with something was it forbidden, those two things like that. And so that's a drive in some people. And I probably think that some people even listen today. That's a drive, and that's where you go. Maybe you was abused by your father, and I don't necessarily mean sexual or physical abuse, but I do know a couple of girls. Right when I was in Texas, the father was a apex. He wasn't a predator. He was an alpha male.
Yeah,
he was alpha, like no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got married, they picked guys that know they can whip their daddy. I'm telling you, they find out at the gym. They went down to Planet Fitness and they picked the biggest, countryest cockstrong man.
What kind of life are you living where you consistently need a man to keep someone from jumping on you? Like what's your daily life like? What's that for?
I don't know, Warren, but maybe it's something happened in the. Before we go, because we got a few minutes left. We got a few. We talked about relationship. Oh, you was gonna say a little bit something when we had a pre-conversation about you dating, finding somebody in your life, but the difficulties of being a community leader, being busy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it for me, it's a little more involved than that. You know, if you find,
Born
huh?
2024. How,
Say again.
so how is dating for Warren in 2020?
Dating is great. And the relationships is another thing. You know, but I'm gonna address that. But I want to get back to something that we were talking about what women are looking for when they're looking for it. My sister's in here now. She probably gonna be mad she ain't on the camera now. um, that it when you were talking about Kendra's show, and you didn't hear any of the things that you think that you would hear, about what a woman should be looking for. Um, I'm always drawn to First Corinthians 13. Everybody likes to have it read or recited at their wedding, and but then again, the divorce rate's 50%, right? So
Mm.
I don't know the verse inside and out because it's a pretty long verse. But at the end, it says, "Love always wins." So when you start off a relationship or looking for someone, and in the beginning you're saying, "Well, all I know is I deserve this, and I know a man got to do this for me, and I know I'm gonna have that, this, that, and the other," you're already on the wrong track because every all of those statements ain't got nothing to do with love. Love
Mm.
in that form and according to that verse is about sacrifice. It's about what you'll give. And if people would say that, well, I'm not giving to anybody that's not doing for me, yeah, that's a rational thing to say. But if both people are living spiritually by that verse, no one's going to want for anything
That's
because
right.
every need that you have, he's going to provide, and every need he has, you're going to provide. But someone's always waiting to be the first. Well, they got to do this for me, and then you're going to decide if you love them. Everything that you get now is some sort of proof of love. Then what do you have should that man not have anything? If you lost whatever it is you have today, would Joyce be like, "Well, I gotta go find me a man that's gonna give me XYZ, a Corvette"? No, because your marriage is based on something bigger. So my position is, if you start out, "Well, I know he gonna do this for me. You might as well get married and then sign the divorce papers the next day, because you just might as well get the time and space out the way, because everything that you say you want is based upon material things, and so
Yes.
that's where we are today. Okay.
That is where we are. And so at the beginning of the show, I said, well, what do you think about relationships today? And I believe you really hit the nail on the head when you said that our relationships are dating schemes. A majority of people on both sides of the aisle is looking, what can you do for me, as opposed to being a leader's servant and say, this is what I can do for you, right? I love Joyce, right? And so I'm always looking for ways how I can help her, right? And so one time I had a post and I said, men, invest in your wives. And
Yeah, I saw that.
the lady called me up and said, I never heard that before. That's what she said. She said, I never heard that. Like it's a new revelation I've seen. Invest in your wife, right? And so I uh, plant good seed in my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I plant good thoughts towards
yeah,
her.
yeah.
I want her successful. I want her to win. And but I started off like that too. I'm telling you right now, I did not marry Joyce what she can do for me. Now
Mhm.
I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
In fact, when we got together, we both was poor.
yeah.
I
Y'all
was
don't
poor.
have
She
nothing.
have nothing. So, but I, and but well, he might be a good provider because Joyce had Crystal, you know, or he
Mhm.
might be able to put stuff like that. But I'm just saying, for my part, you know,
Mhm.
this is how I felt. But everybody, you know, this hour went by fast. Or I said, okay, ready to wrap it up.
I'll tell you, I'll answer real quick the part that you asked me earlier. So I'm not married and I never been married. And I've been in a couple of relationships. But I had an Uncle Carno. You remember Uncle Carno?
Of course I
Um,
do.
yeah. Uncle Carno was alone, but he was not lonely. He was alone his whole life. And I think maybe sometimes you get to an age where it's a little fear and trepidation that when you have some good things in your life and you have peace. Like I never come home and nobody gonna yell at me like, why you didn't take out the garbage, or the stuff that I imagine that married couples go through. And the longer the time goes by, the more peaceful I am. I go to the beach, I walk, I watch the sunset, all things that you could do with someone. But if I keep feeling like, man, I'm 63, I don't have 10 years to get this wrong. So if someone comes along and she's she doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not perfect. But if we can provide each other some peace, then I can do that. But if not, I don't have to do it. And I think about my Uncle Carno. I never saw him unhappy, and he never raised his voice. And you know him. I never saw him angry. He seemed like he's content. So I'm not using him as an example or a template, but I do know one person who he was about his family. He took care of everybody, and he just kind of went smooth through life, and he never got married. I don't know what I'm missing. Maybe I'm missing a Joyce. And I'm not against a relationship or even getting married, but I am honest enough with women to say, listen, we can spend time together and maybe we can figure this out. But if your full intent is to get married, I can't promise you that. So maybe you shouldn't, maybe we shouldn't even go down this road. And I'm kind of happy with myself. I'm not happy with a whole bunch of things, but I'm happy with myself. And you and me, Blaine, we came from the same place. We did a lot of same things that I have not intentionally lied to a woman in 13 years to get something that I want. And that's the best I can do right now.
All right, man. But I like again, I know that you busy. You
Mhm.
got a lot of one. You know, you might be the next mayor of Waterbury. I don't know, or on the school board or something.
Yeah.
We see what God plans for you. But Warren, I would like to have you back on because I like to dive maybe a little bit more into the family values
Hmm.
inside home. The dynamics of family, blended families, stuff like that. And so since you know a podcast, you kind of see where we're going with it. And also I like the flow. Who knows what we're gonna end up talking? We might be talking about Chevy cars, man. I don't know. Uh,
Yo, them Corvettes are, listen, you can keep that Corvette. That 350 small block is pretty much the same engine from 1955. You can work on that.
yeah, I can't get out that thing no more, man. That's close to the so anyway, everyone, my name is Blaine Van. This is a happy husband. This is about my guest Warren Leach from Woodbury, Connecticut. Warren, you're doing extraordinary things in the community. I know you have fundraisers, and you're doing a lot of things with children, with youth, with financial literacy program. You also have this thing where you give gowns away for prom and feed the poor and clean the park. So how would somebody reach out to you or webpage they can get and just maybe cook up with some of the activities you're doing? Everybody, if you're looking for some place to sow some money, listen to what I'm about to tell you. This is good ground. This is good ground. Your money will not go to waste. And the reason why I can say that is that you can go to Waterbury yourself, hand them the check, and then see what he's doing. I mean, his organization is transparent, right? He ain't taking it and buying new shoes and stuff like that. It go to these kids, and I sold money into it too, in case you want to know too. They go to the farm, they go skating. I mean, I think was it this last summer that someone went to the farm for the first time?
Yeah.
And, what's that? And so this is some of the work that Warren do. If you go to his website, so Warren, how can I get in contact with you?
So you can see what we're up to on the website on theungroupsociety.org. It's ungroup, just like it sounds, theungroupsociety.org. You can email us at theungroupsociety@gmail.com. And if you're like Blaine says, I'm here after my regular job. This isn't my job. My regular job is I work with convicted felons, helping them get employment and things like that. And then me and my sister and some other volunteers, we come here 4, 5, 6 hours after the fact. And we do that so that we don't have to use grant money and funds and contributions to sustain ourselves. It's not easy doing it this way, but but we feel like every nickel that we get, if we can put it in the hands of people who really need it, then that's the way it should be done. So you can reach us again at theungroupsociety@gmail.com, and theungroupsociety.org is the website. And come and check it out. See all the happy faces.
All right now, all right. And once in a while, one post some videos, and you can see where your dollars are going to. And if you're not about that, well, they can sure use your prayers.
Absolutely.
Time you dealing with youth. Anytime you're dealing with youth, you need prayer. Anytime.
Right.
That's at blainecvan@gmail.com. If you have any comments, so you can do my Facebook page. Also, you can reach me on YouTube at Blaine the Happy Husband, Blaine C. Van, also Instagram and on TikTok. And my audience is growing on TikTok, and pretty soon I'll be doing live from TikTok, and we're real excited about that. And every third, I drop my podcast on Spotify, and this show right here, if you want to hear it again, will be on Spotify this Thursday, and you can download it and you can hear it again. All right. And sometimes you just got to hear something 3, 4 times so I can get into your spirit. All right, y'all. Warren, thank you again for being my guest. And everybody, God willing, we see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. God bless.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.